So today on our program, we're going to visit with Lee Zeidman, who's the president of Staples Center, the famous arena in Los Angeles. Hello, Lee. How are you doing today?
Well, I wish I could say I was doing better. I would be doing better if I was hosting the NBA playoffs, but I'm not. And it's day 128 of no events at Staples Center. So it's tough times out here in Los Angeles.
They are tough times. I sure hope it turns around soon. I know that your facility is normally very busy. You have the Lakers, the Clippers, the Kings, and the Sparks.
Correct, the WNBA Sparks.
Yeah, and other events too, I would imagine.
We host upwards of 250 events a year pre-COVID. That's including playoffs for our teams as well.
Yeah, that's an amazing number of events, and of course, we all look forward to getting back to normal. You know, Lee, I'm kind of disappointed. I was hoping you'd have LeBron James there with you.
He's in the bubble in Orlando, Jeff. Now, I'm not interested in going into that bubble. I just turned 65 on July 4th. I think I'm best here in Venice, California right now.
All right. Well, we'll do this without LeBron, and maybe one day I'll get to see him. So anyway, let's get right to it. You know, Staples Center recently applied for and obtained the GBAC STAR accreditation program. So congratulations on that. I bet that was a process and a worthy one as well.
We're very excited about that.
Yeah, and I know that's going to help when you guys have your events to get people in, and they'll feel better about visiting the Staples Center. So great. Tell us this: why did you guys decide on the GBAC STAR accreditation program? What was the reason?
Well, first and foremost, let me take you back a little bit to in and around March 11th and 12th when we first shut down. Prior to that, we had already instituted training for our staff, both our guest services staff and our housekeeping staff, as it related to what we were learning about the pandemic and COVID-19. We had already adopted policies and procedures for overnight cleaning. We had upped our in-event cleaning, and we talked about adding restroom attendants to make sure that they kept our restrooms and those high-touch areas moving forward clean. We also realized that once the league shut down, we were going to need to work with LA County Department of Public Health and the state of California to put together guidelines and protocols for us to be able to reopen without spectators moving forward, and to reopen once we got out of the pandemic with spectators. Nobody ever thought it would go on this long. That said, we put together guidelines that were kind of like I refer to as A to Z, everything we thought we needed to do. We were going to marry those up with the county health guidelines and the state's guidelines, A to Z, and then we would marry those up with the leagues, the NBA and the NHL, their guidelines as well. So we looked around and said, it would be fantastic for us to find a third-party accreditation to verify that we're doing everything that we could potentially do to not only assure the guests coming back, but our staff members coming back and the athletes, artists, and performers who come into our building. And there were a lot of companies coming out at that time, a lot of facility management companies that were putting together protocols, that were putting together guidelines for venues to adopt to get, quote unquote, that accreditation or a good seal of approval, a good seal of housekeeping approval moving forward. But I've been an IAVM member for 30 years, and I was intrigued and very interested when I read about the GBAC accreditation process. And I did a little bit of research with our team. We saw how thorough it was. We saw the 20 different points and protocols that we needed to adhere to. And we felt for us that it was the most thorough accreditation out there. And it afforded us the ability to get the quickest accreditation out there. Now, I didn't realize that it was going to entail so much writing and so much in-depth reflection on what we did. But we felt that GBAC afforded us the best process and the most thorough process for actually get to where we wanted to get to.
Don't worry, I have another question about all that in a moment. So I know.
I'm okay. Questions are good.
A lot of writing was involved, yes. Well, here's my next question. What will this mean, big picture, for your workers and your visitors, those who pay money to come and watch the events, you know, these sports events and other events you guys have?
Well, this is a huge accomplishment, and this is a huge, what I believe, another tool to put in our tool chest. We have, 170 suites in our building. We have 2,600 premier seats. We have 4 teams, obviously, that play in our building that all have season ticket holder bases. So we needed to assure them that we were going to be safe and secure. So we needed a process in place that we could educate our staff first and foremost, and then the various stakeholders and clients that come into our venue. And we thought the GBAC accreditation program was going to allow us to do that and give us that additional tool to put in our tool chest to actually show people that once we can open up and once we can bring fans back into the venue, that we are safe and that we have adhered to a stringent accreditation program by a top-notch organization. You know, we're in stage 3 in California right now of 4 stages. Stage 3 allows us to open up and do sporting events without spectators. Stage 4 will allow us to come back fully with spectators.
All right. Let's talk about the hard work you put into the GBAC accreditation, GBAC STAR accreditation process for facilities. Difficult part. You said a lot of writing.
Well, there was a lot of writing, and, you know, we had a lot of protocols. We had a lot of guidelines. Our Vice President of Operations, Ignacio Guerra, led the effort with our Senior Vice President of Engineering and Operations, Bill Podorf. They put together all the policies and the procedures. And I'm not saying that they were scattered everywhere, but we had a tremendous amount of standard operating procedures, not only for guest services, not only for engineering, but for operations as well. And what the GBAC accreditation process afforded us the opportunity to do was to put all those standard operating procedures in one document that we can refer to, that we can go back to our partners, ABM, that we can go back to our partners, Belfour, who sanitizes our venue for us, and show them that this is what we need to adhere to from not only from a equipment standpoint, a risk management standpoint, a chemical standpoint, and the operation procedures and policies that we need to follow to make sure that we maintain this very important accreditation for us.
I bet you have a fantastic staff backing you up.
You know, I'm very fortunate. I was the first person hired for Staples Center way back in February of '98. And a lot of the people that work with me and that have been partners of mine and employees of mine have been here since day one. And, you know, not everybody can say that, and I'm very fortunate that I have those people that have been with me, and we've afforded them the opportunity to grow with AEG and Staples Center, at LA Live and Microsoft Theater, as I oversee those properties as well. And mind you, this is a process that we're going to go through for the Microsoft Theater as well, and look to become one of the first theaters that is accredited by GBAC to also tout that and put that in our tool chest for the Microsoft Theater moving forward.
Really cool. Really cool. All right, one more question. I know you got things to do. What's the one thing your facility has done differently because of going through the GBAC STAR accreditation program?
I think it's training and education. We have upped our training programs and we've upped our education. Now, obviously, we haven't been in a situation where we've had our full contingent of full-time and part-time event staff back, but the process has afforded us the opportunity to put together all these operating policies and procedures, put together the GBAC program, and it's going to be the emphasis of our operations, engineering, and housekeeping training when we come back. We have essential staff on board right now because we need to operate our venue. They have been trained in a lot of the policies and procedures, and I'm looking forward to the day when we can have our full part-time staff back that will allow us to fully train everybody moving forward, which will show not only the athletes, the artists, and the performers, but our teams and the leagues, the NHL, the NBA, and the WNBA, that we have adhered to some stringent protocols, guidelines, and standards that are put out by GBAC, and we're an accredited facility. The first global arena that has been accredited by GBAC.
That's right. And I lied. I have one more question. What would you tell other facilities like yours if they asked you about the GBAC STAR accreditation program? Should they do it?
Yes. First of all, I believe every venue out there that does mass gatherings needs to have some kind of third-party protocols and guidelines that have been reviewed by them. As I said early on, there are a tremendous amount of companies that are going to be doing this. We felt through our research and our association with IAVM that GBAC and ISSA were the ones we wanted to partner up to put this tool in our tool chest.
Well, thank you, Lee, so much for your time here. And one day, soon, I hope, we'll see all these events back in action.
We will, Jeff. And when we do, please be my guest to come out here for a game.
Wow, that's a big offer. Thank you. I'll see you then.